captured and he would be given more punishment. The jail is not the reason for his suffering. His ignorance of the laws. He breaks the laws. That is why he is captured and put into jail. So if he does research and he tries to remove the intermediate causes of his suffering, he tries to kill the policeman who arrests him every time. He thinks, now I would be scot-free. Now I can do robbery anywhere. This is foolishness. Policeman is not catching him, but the police department. They will employ another policeman to catch the thief. Or he thinks, let me remove the judge from my path. He gives me sentence every time. Let me kill the judge, then nobody will put me into jail. That is greater foolishness. You would be given greater punishment. In a similar way, we do our research, but because our research does not go to ultimate cause of all causes, our sufferings increase. Just like the thief who wants to become happy is working very hard to break the jail or to kill the policeman or to kill the judge, will only increase his problems of life. This foolishness is happening across the world. That is why the anxieties keep on piling up and people become more and more distressed. So if we have to solve the problems of life, we need to have right knowledge. Right knowledge means knowledge of cause of all causes, knowledge of absolute truth. And the cause of all causes is Lord Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes. And this knowledge is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it is told when Krishna went back, Krishna came here to give us knowledge of his own self, absolute truth. But now that Krishna has gone back, in Kali Yuga when people become blind, the knowledge given by Krishna has been so much twisted, misinterpreted. Who will give life to people? Who will give knowledge to people in this Kali Yuga? So it is told, Srimad Bhagavatam, the scripture. And the benefit which Krishna was giving personally when he was present here, the same benefit can be given by Srimad Bhagavatam. The relief which all the people were feeling in presence of Lord Krishna, whether all the birds, animals who became dead because of the presence of Kaliya, or when there was forest fire or unlimited troubles, Krishna was always their savior. The same effect we can have today by Srimad Bhagavatam. So sometimes, but when we distribute books or Bhagavatam or when we share our content, so many people appreciate. But some people, they are very fond of writing that. What do they tell? That we need not just Shastra but Shastra. People think by distributing Shastras, you are making people coward. We need Shastra, we need weapons. Why don't you train people in weapons? Why there is no weapon training department in ISKCON? You should train people in guns, bombs, rocket launchers. And that is a necessity. Just because we were lacking in this thing, we stuck so much to our religion, we were captured by people and we were ruled over for centuries. Correct? You have come across such comments? Many people tell. Now is not the time for Shastra, but Shastra. Train people in Shastra. And they are right actually. It is important definitely. Shastra is very, very important. We should get trained in Shastra. And Srila Prabhupada also told, carry the Shastras. There were some troubles, attacks in the temple. Dacoits were there, robbers were there, they were attacking. Prabhupada told the devotees, keep guns for your protection. That is important. However, if we have to bring change in the world, that cannot merely be brought about by Shastra. But Shastra is also required, but Shastra is secondary. So such people who tell Shastra is more important than Shastra, or emphasis should be there, they are very, very foolish and childish. So we should be compassionate towards them. Such people have no knowledge at all. Just like the animal wants to growl and fight, cannot have higher knowledge. So these people are also not able to understand how the world operates. All the biggest revolutions that the world has seen, the biggest changes that the world has seen, all those changes have been brought about by the Shastras. It could be the communist revolution. It is because the Communist Manifesto written by Karl Marx, and half the population of the world got affected by it. Half the population became communist. Why? Because of this book. Because of this Shastra, this book written by Karl Marx. Half the population changed. Similarly, American Revolution to throw away the Britishers, or the French Revolution to throw away the monarchy, all of them were brought about by pen. The communists, without setting a single foot in India, have captured many Indians and many states of India. Why? Simply because of distributing literatures. The communists are very expert in distributing books. Even in COVID, you would see stalls. They put very attractive stalls. They would put 5-6 tables and wonderful attractive stands. Even when COVID was there, they were distributing books. So they are very expert in distributing books and literatures. And because of this, they have changed the consciousness of half of the world's population. Without putting a single bomb or arm in India, they have conquered territories, they have conquered systems, they have conquered people. Why? Simply because of pen. And even so-called people who ruled, the fanatic terrorists, ultimately what is the foundation? That is also Shastra. Not exactly Shastra, the wrong understanding of Shastra. But the foundation is again book. The most dreaded organization which was used by Americans to push away the Russians, USSR, from Afghanistan. So their intelligence agencies fiddled with the books and they incorporated extreme thoughts in those books so that they can become revolutionaries. And this is what happened. So thus whatever we tell, even though the legal regimes or illegal fanatic regimes, the foundation is always a book. The people who are wielding the Shastras, their wielding of Shastras is also based on book. The greatest world war, the battle of Kurukshetra, also was based on book. Otherwise Arjuna told, I would not fight. The person who was having the greatest Shastras of the world, Arjuna was so powerful, he was able to have the most powerful weapons of the world. He was having Brahmastra, he was having Pashupatastra, the weapon of Lord Shiva. He was having the weapon of Indra. He was having all the celestial weapons. He was able to single-handedly defeat all the Devatas combined together. When there was fire in the Khandava forest, the Devatas wanted to save. Indra's friend Takshak was there with his family in the forest. So Indra came to save along with host of other demigods. Simply Arjun and Krishna were there on the chariot and Arjun was fighting. And Arjun single-handedly was able to fend off all the Devatas. Nobody was able to do anything. Indra could not do anything. After Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Indra is most powerful. Indra also, and not just Indra alone, he came along with other Devatas. They also could not do anything. All of them had to go back. So Arjuna was so powerful that he had best of the weapons. He was having Gandhi, the bow of Brahma. But all those weapons were useless. Only when this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was given, thus the demoniac regime was changed by Arjuna. He became ready to kill. So the righteousness which was established, that is also based on the foundation of book. The greatest war which happened, that was also based on book. Lord Krishna came here to give instructions. And when Arjuna heard those instructions, then he was able to use the Shastras very nicely. The most powerful of the persons who was carrying Shastras, the man who is majorly responsible for the independence of India, Bhagat Singh, He gave up bombs and bullets for books and newsletters, bulletins. Bhagat Singh could have shot many, many people. He could have thrown bomb anywhere, but he agreed to get arrested. Why? Because he understood this principle. Bhagat Singh became Bhagat Singh by reading the books of revolution. He understood these books are the basis. And he could have killed many, but how many he could have killed? 15, 20, 30, 40, 60, 100 people? How many would have killed? How can you remove people who are ruling over lakhs and crores of people? He told this is not possible simply by killing. That would be possible by. So he understood pen is mightier than sword. So he got himself arrested. He was very young. He could have got arrested later. He would have utilized his youth in killing some people. But he understood. And thus he got arrested. Because he understood when I am arrested, there would be chance to speak. And my message would be carried. And this message will bring revolution. My few bullets are good but not sufficient. So thus people are so childish when they talk. That why you're distributing books? Let us use. No. Books are the basis for everything. Whether weapons have to be given up or to be used, Shastras will tell us. So that is why it is the Shastra which brings Charles Darwin. He wrote a theory without any proof, without any evidence, and then the population became atheist overnight. He simply gave a theory. This is called revolution. Our acharyas have written so many books to make people theist and convinced. And he wrote a theory and then people became godless. So just see the revolution created by Darwin. It would not have been brought about by killing all the theists. But he wrote a theory. Similarly, we became subservient not because of lack of Shastras but lack of Shastra. Britishers understood that we will not be able to rule over them unless we change their books, education system. And how Britishers were able to rule? They were hopeless. We cannot rule over this country. We can only rule over them if we change their education system, their books. Otherwise, it will not be possible. Then they removed our books. They put their books. And then everybody became clerk. Everybody is now seeking for jobs. If we don't have jobs, our education is useless. Correct? No use. But Vedic education system trains a person to become independent. The people who have gone to Vedic schools would never take up a job. Never. They were trained to remain independent always. Only those people would do jobs who did not have any education. So that is why we should understand and make others also understand that if at all some change has to be brought about, there is need of books. All the great revolutions, India lost its freedom because of books. Got captured because of books. American Revolution, French Revolution, the Communist Revolution, everything is there because of Martin Luther King distributing pamphlets. Everything is because of books. And that is what is told here. This book is incarnation of Krishna. That is why Ved Vyas, he dedicated his time, and Srila Prabhupada also. He worked so hard, dedicated his time to give us the books. And Prabhupada told, books are the basis. Prabhupada went to America with nobody. Just like the cowherd men would have no protection, but Krishna, Arjuna did not have any protection. So Krishna asked Arjuna. So Krishna gave first right to ask to Arjuna. Although Duryodhana and Arjuna both were present, but Krishna told no, dharma is the youngest should get first right to ask. Arjuna was younger than Duryodhana. So he told Arjuna, what do you want? Me not fighting or my army? Each soldier in fighting in my army is equal to me. Who do you want? I have 1,000,000 soldiers. So Arjuna told, I want you. Duryodhana told, okay Krishna, what can I do? I will bear with the army. He became delighted. So So after he went away, Krishna asked Arjuna, why have you asked me? I will not even fight. He told Krishna, does not matter. I know wherever you are, victory is there. So wherever Krishna is there, victory is there. And Krishna is incarnated in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So thus we have to be thoroughly convinced, if Krishna is there, there is all victory. Simply we have to become devotees. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Netir Matir Mama Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Wherever there is Krishna and there is devotee like Arjun. So Krishna is there in the form of Bhagavatam. We have to become devotee like Arjun. Then there is victory, there is morality, there is righteousness, there is prosperity, there is everything in the world. So by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to become devotees. And we have to give Krishna to people. So giving knowledge is the only solution. Only in ignorance do we suffer. Only in ignorance the whole world thinks I am this body, and the whole world is getting carried away by the disturbances of the body or the pleasures of the body. So this knowledge has to be given that we are not the body. Then the higher knowledge that Lord is there in our hearts, who is guiding us always towards permanent happiness. And then knowledge about the personality of God. All these three stages of knowledge are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the suffering in our life is only because of ignorance. There is no other cause of suffering. So that is why Srila Prabhupada, he gave maximum stress to this work. Prabhupada writes in many places, in Srimad Bhagavatam also, that we have so many activities in the Hare Krishna movement. We make temples, we make farm communities, we make goshalas, we run schools, we distribute prasadam, we distribute so many things. But the most important is distribution of books. Prabhupada writes all the activities of the Hare Krishna movement are centered around distribution of books. If books are distributed, that is success. Because Prabhupada explains, temples if we make and we don't distribute books, then the movement could be finished in no time. Many kings made huge temples. Some invaders came, they broke away all the temples to ground zero. You will not find a brick of that temple now. Govind Dev Ji temple, huge temple, 7 stories tall. Aurangzeb came and broke the temple. So similarly, so many beautiful temples were there. They got looted, they got broken down. And the devotees, they were killed. So the devotees may be killed, the temples may be broken, but if books are there, then it will produce many more devotees automatically. So that is why the book is the real movement. Books are the basis. So thus Prabhupada told all our activities in the movement are centered around distribution of books. Thus Prabhupada did not carry with him anything. He did not have money, he did not have people, he did not have support, did not have good health, but he had book, Srimad Bhagavatam. And that was sufficient. And we can practically see how simply by Srimad Bhagavatam Prabhupada created this international movement. So that is why we are having this very wonderful event which is most dear to Prabhupada, that is Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki. So Prabhupada explains, to compete is the symptom of life. Without competition, nobody can live. So sometimes we want to remove all the competition, but then there is no life. Yes, competition should not be there on material platform, but to compete is the symptom of the living entity. In spiritual world also there is competition. The friends of Krishna, they run towards Krishna. Who will touch Krishna first? They are competing. And Krishna gets pleasure. Who will serve Krishna more? Who can serve him in a better way? There is competition. So the competition is always there. But in spiritual competition, there is no envy. But it brings life. It increases affection for Krishna. It increases appreciation for other devotee service. But competition is required. So Prabhupada established this wonderful competition, which is called Book Marathon. So what is Book Marathon? Just like we run marathons. There is sprint, you run for a few seconds or minutes and then the race is over. Marathon means keep on running slowly for a long time. 40, 50 kilometers, keep on running. Similarly, we distribute books, but this competition is not about distributing for 1 or 2 days, but it goes for a month or two. And all the centers, even now, they compete in this competition, and Prabhupada would become very pleased by such competition. Just like Krishna would become pleased when he sees that. And even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was cleaning the Gundicha temple, then also he was having competition. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was collecting the dirt, and others were also collecting dirt and straws. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to collect more than everyone else put together. So this is the symptom of the living entity which need not be curved, but it has to be dovetailed. And Srila Prabhupada dovetailed in the most expert manner. And Prabhupada encouraged the devotees, yes, you should try your level best to win in this competition. This is very nice competition. And it is not just for helping others that others are suffering. No, it is very much required for myself also. Let people not take it. Let not a single person take the book. Prabhupada told when he was writing the books that sometimes the disciple asked Prabhupada, but what if the people don't accept? Prabhupada told, people accept or don't accept, but I will keep on writing. Let the whole world not accept, but I will not stop my mission. I will continue with my mission. So let not a single person take the book, let nobody listen, Prabhupada told, but I am writing for my purification. So when we distribute books, yes, if others take, it is for their benefit. Even if they do not take, we get benefited and we get purified. How Srila Prabhupada explains. You go on with book distribution, they will be benefited. And distributors also will be benefited. Krishna says, Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidhasyati. Na cha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha. If you want to become quickly recognized by Krishna, then make propaganda. This Krishna consciousness movement. And once recognized by Krishna, then your going back to home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. So Prabhupada told on morning walk. Krishna openly declares, nobody is dearer to me than the person who distributes these literatures, books to others. So if you want to become quickly recognized by Krishna, we have to become dearmost. And who is dearmost? One who distributes this knowledge to others. Krishna has openly declared, there is no one more dear to him. And once if we get recognized by Krishna, then going back to Godhead is assured. So this is the quickest way of gaining Krishna's recognition. And we need recognition not just of Krishna, but recognition of spiritual master also. Guru Krishna Kripai Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. So Prabhupada explains in a letter, actually it is a fact that, so somebody was telling, because we have various services in the temple. So some devotees were telling, no, you should also come. They were encouraging other people who were engaged in other services also to distribute books. So they asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, is it necessary that all of us should go for book distribution? Anyway, we are having some services. So Prabhupada writes, actually it is a fact that ultimately everyone should preach and distribute books if they want to please me in the best way. So yes, anybody is doing any services, they are pleasing Prabhupada. But Prabhupada says it is a fact that ultimately everyone should preach and distribute books if they want to please me in the best way. Book distribution must be given stress always. He has spoken the right thing. If you do this sincerely, it is a fact that Krishna will supply everything else required. I blindly follow my Guru Maharaj. I do not know what is the result. So I am stressing on this point of book distribution. He told me this personally. Book distribution is Bhagavad Marg and temple worship is Pancharatri ki Vidhi. Both are important for cultivating Vaishnavism, but comparatively speaking, Bhagavad Marg is more important than Pancharatri ki Vidhi. As far as possible, both should go on in parallel lines, but still Bhagavad Marg is more important than the other. So you are all intelligent boys, so you should judge the desire of my Guru Maharaj and help me in that way. So definitely we have various services. Why we have services? Because of taking care of the deities in the temple. If there is no temple, no service would be there. So sometime during Prabhupada's time, when he was physically manifest, the devotees became so involved in the temple services that they were not able to go out in the evening. Prabhupada told every evening when people are out on the streets, you also should be out preaching them. So sometimes devotees were less or whatsoever services were heavy, they were not able to go out. Then Prabhupada told, you lock the temple and go out. But evening you should be out. Otherwise you make temple, and if people are not devotees, who will come to temple? So if you distribute books, people will become devotees and automatically they would make temples also. And if you simply stress on making temples and there is no preaching, your temple also would be shut down. Who will come to your temple? So Prabhupada told that both vidhis are important. Yes, temple worship is important. When we worship the deities, serve the deities, we become purified. Why do we become purified? To preach. Because only in purity we can preach, convince others to pick up Krishna consciousness. So the ultimate purpose is to preach and to make devotees. That is why temple worship is very important. But if we can do only one thing, then temple worship can be given up. If I can do either Bhagavad Vidhi, chanting, hearing, preaching, or temple worship, I can do only one thing, then chanting, hearing, preaching is more important. But both should be done. But in case one is getting compromised, then Pancharatriki can be compromised, but never Bhagavad Vidhi. This is the verdict of scriptures. So Prabhupada tells this is the best way to satisfy me. If you want to please me in the best way, everyone should preach and distribute books. And then, when we want to advance in spiritual life, there are many material desires. Even though we are chanting Hare Krishna very nicely, we are doing, but the material desires, lust, greed, they do not go away very easily. Thus in Mahabharata, Maharaj Yudhishthira asks, I think Vyasadeva or Markandeya Rishi, mostly Vyasadeva, that what is best among the two, asceticism or charity? One is doing tapasya, following rules and regulations strictly, minimizing the bodily necessities, taking various vows of religious duties. That is more powerful, more important, or charity is more important. So it was explained, depending on time and circumstances, one thing is given more importance than the other. But overall speaking, charity is more important than asceticism. So we can follow the rules and regulations, and that is why we see it is very easy to come to 16 rounds. People start chanting, they worship the deities also, but when we request donation, very difficult. Money does not leave the pocket. Very difficult. Yes, somebody can be poor or rich, so amount is not important. But of the money that you are earning, how much you are willing to give to Krishna, very difficult. That is why Prabhupada explained this is higher platform. So when we start, getting up Mangalarti is easy, chanting, hearing, taking prasadam, all these are easy. Asceticism is easy. But then Vedvyas explained, just to get the money, people risk their lives. They serve as mercenaries, they serve in the army just to get some money. They dive deep into the ocean to get some pearls. They sacrifice getting drowned. They sacrifice their lives. They go deep into forest to look for wealth or treasures. In this way, people work very hard and they are willing to sacrifice their life just to earn money. So money is very dear to a man. So comparatively speaking, charity is more important over asceticism. So working for Krishna is not possible unless one has attachment for Krishna. So by these rules and regulations, we cultivate attachment for Krishna. And the real test of that attachment is how much we are able to work for Krishna, give up the results of our work in the service of Krishna. That is why Krishna told, when the debate was happening, the Pandavas should fight or should not fight. Because if Pandavas fight, because the armies were assembled, 7 Akshauhani on one side and 11 Akshauhani on other side, then Dhritarashtra sent Sanjay to convey message to the party that please tell them not to fight. But he was not willing to return the kingdom. He was giving moral lessons that what is the need to fight? Does this kingdom ever satisfy anybody? My child is fool, you understand. Live simply. Material desires never satisfy anybody. My children cannot give up, you give up at least. So Sanjay was, and this is fact. Material desires never satisfy anybody. So why you are also becoming fool? Like my sons for material desires, Sanjay was communicating this message, and it makes sense. Sanjay was disciple of Vedavyas. He was communicating spiritual instructions that Krishna speaks. That the sages give two opinions to make spiritual life perfect. One is giving up the duties. That is called sannyas, renunciation, stopping one's duties. Another is working, doing one's duties without attachment. And Krishna tells, I give more preference to the latter. Working without attachment. That quickly brings a person to perfection. That is why Pandavas should fight, not because of material desire, but for spiritual perfection. They are acting as, they are inclined to work as Kshatriyas. So Kshatriya has tendency to fight. So they must fight, but without attachment to the results. So thus these material desires are so strong, we may perform asceticism and everything, but it is very difficult to give up the attraction for material desires, earning money and other pleasures thereof. So how to come out of these material desires? How to curb this lust and greed in the heart? So Prabhupada explains here also. So there is this shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam from 9th canto. Sa ittham bhakti yogena tapo yuktena parthivaha swadharmena harim prinan sarvan kam activities. He gradually gave up all material desires. Prabhupada explains, severe austerities in the practice of devotional service are of many varieties. For example, worshipping the deity in the temple, there are certainly laborious activities. Shri Vigrahara Dhananityanana Shringaratan Mandir Marjanadav. One must decorate the deity, cleanse the temple, bring water from the Ganges and Yamuna, continue the routine work, perform arti many times, prepare first class food for the deity, prepare dresses, and so on. In this way, one must constantly be engaged in various activities, and the hard labor involved is certainly an austerity. Similarly, the hard labor involved in preaching, preparing literature, preaching to the atheistic men, and distributing literature door to door is, of course, an austerity. Tapo yuktena. Tapo divyam putraka. Such austerity is necessary. Yena sattam shuddhyet. By such austerity in devotional service, one is purified of material existence. So one who is doing asceticism, he is also doing austerity. Austerity of not eating. Austerity of not doing sense gratification. But the other person is also doing austerity. When you fight a war, is there no pain? There is a lot of pain. But when that work is done without attachment for the result, for the sake of Krishna, then that work becomes austerity. So austerity, taking discomfort, pain is very much required. But if you take pain to enjoy the senses, that is called sense gratification, fruitive work. But if the pain is done without attachment to result, to offer result to Krishna, that pain becomes austerity, and that is required. Such austerity is necessary. By such austerity in devotional service, one is purified of material existence. Kaman Shanair Jaho. Indeed, such austerity leads one to the constitutional position of devotional service. In this way, one can give up material desires. And as soon as one is free from material desires, he is free from the repetition of birth and death, old age and disease. So thus it is told here, tapo yuktena, engaging in austerities in devotional service is very much required to give up shanai, slowly the material desires, kaman jano shanai. So one will be able to give up material desires only by austerities in devotional service. Unless we are taking pains in devotional service, doing austerities, we cannot give up material desires. Attachment to other gender and money will always remain in the heart. These are the two big impediments. So Prabhupada explains here, when we involved in the hard labor of preaching, preparing literature, preaching to atheistic men, people are not interested, we preach, go door to door, distribute, there is certainly austerity in this. But this must be taken. Rather, this austerity is the only way to get freedom from material desires. And then Prabhupada explains, I have curbed my material desires very nicely. I am following spiritual life. And I could have even attained the platform of liberation, but there is fall down even from the liberated platform. There is fall down from spiritual life at any point of time. There is always a risk. So, how to avoid this risk of falling down? That also Prabhupada explains. That also happens by book distribution. Generally, people come to this temple, they are very devoted to the deity. They offer their respects, flowers, and other things. Make the regulative process, circumambulate. This is nice beginning. But one has to go above this. So to come to the temple, do parikrama of the deities of the altar, offer respects, this is good, but this is beginning. One has to go above this. One has to know who is actually bhakta, who is natat bhakteshu chanyeshu. One has to do good for others, that is madhyamadhikari. If I become satisfied only with these regulative principles for worshipping the deity in the temple and following the regulative principle daily, but if I have no other idea, then sa bhakta prakrita smrita. Prakrita means on the material platform. Such devotee can fall down at any moment because he is on the prakrita stage. And prakrita means this gunmai prakriti is very strong. So any devotee can fall down if he remains prakrit bhakta. So he has to raise himself up above this in the madhyamadhikar. So madhyamadhikar means intermediate stage. So here it is said that swanirmiteshu nirvishto bhungte bhuteshu tadgunan. So we are not enjoying actually, we are enjoying the interaction of the three modes of material nature, and we are thinking. The same thing as my Guru Maharaj used to say that licking up the bottle of honey, that is not real honey. You have to open the bottle of honey and lick up the real honey. Then you will get taste. That is advancement of spiritual knowledge. So if we are doing our morning program, evening program very nicely, we are chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are following 4 regulative principles strictly, reading every day, but we don't rise above, we don't do good to others, we don't preach, we can fall down at any moment. Any day our spiritual life, just like we see, people are following nicely, they suddenly vanish, they stop following. They lose their spiritual life. Why? Because they remained on material platform, prakrit. On material platform, anytime tamoguna, rajoguna will attack, we will lose our spiritual life. So that is why it is very important to come to madhyamadhikar, intermediate level. Madhyamadhikar is spiritual platform. So when we come to doing good to others, Prabhupada explains, I am following regulative principles daily, but I have no other idea. Such a devotee can fall down at any moment. So we have to come to second stage. Second stage means preaching, explaining this knowledge to others. So that is why when we explain, when we preach, explain this knowledge to others, then we come to the intermediate platform. And that is guarantee for not falling down, Prabhupada explains. The activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are meant not only for oneself but also for others. This is perfection of Krishna consciousness. One who is interested in his own salvation is not as advanced in Krishna consciousness as one who feels compassion for others and who therefore propagates the Krishna consciousness movement. Such an advanced devotee will never fall down. A pure devotee of Krishna is guaranteed. So we should be very much afraid. We have got this rare devotee association. We may lose it any time. So what is the guarantee? Prabhupada explains, preaching is guarantee. One who feels compassion for others and who therefore propagates the Krishna consciousness movement, such an advanced devotee will never fall down. Prabhupada is giving guarantee. That is the sum and substance of Krishna consciousness movement. This is sum and substance. Yet you preach and you will never fall down. Krishna will give you special protection. many times the devotees ask questions that, Prabhu, I am hearing soulful japa module also, but chanting is not improving. I have finished the modules. I have done everything. So we are missing a point which is mentioned in the modules also, which is very, very important. And what is that? Samadhi is not possible without. The word kriyasu means by manual labor. We want to get into samadhi, fully absorbed in the holy name. We want to relish the holy name. So how to do it? Prabhupada explains the word kriyasu, meaning by manual labor or by work, is important in this verse. One should engage in practical service to the Lord. In our Krishna consciousness movement, all our activities are concentrated upon distributing Krishna literature. This is very important. One may approach any person and induce him to read Krishna literature so that in the future he may also become a devotee. Such activities are recommended in this verse. Kriyasu yadvat charanaravindayoho. Such activities will always remind the devotees of the Lord's lotus feet. By fully concentrating on distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is Samadhi. So by fully concentrating on distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is Samadhi. So Samadhi cannot be artificially attained. But when we focus on serving Krishna by our work, kriyasu, manual labor, we have to exert ourselves, the energy, the intellect which Krishna has given. When we exert them for the service of Krishna, then Krishna becomes visible in our heart. We get absorbed in the holy name automatically. So working very hard is required. In the beginning, Prabhupada explains, you have to work very hard. Then only we can get taste. Shushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudev Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra. Ruchi, Katha Ruchi becomes possible by Mahat Seva, working hard to serve the pure devotee. So such hard work, austerities are very much required. So because we remain in our zone of convenience, we are satisfied. Moving around the wheels is not very effortful. Just pull it. Think little bit. Oh, in this office, this is what I have to do. Pull one more bead. Yesterday I did this. Take out phone also, check some bead. Hare Krishna. Or even if you have to move around, it's not very, does not take much effort. So in order to chant nicely, we have to take austerity. That is explained here very nicely. Come to Madhyamadikar, protect yourself. This is the only way we will be able to curb material desires. And unless material desires are there, one cannot relish holy name. Nivritta Darshay Rupagiyamanat. Only those who are free from material trishna can relish the holy name. Others cannot. And we can become free from material desires only by working hard in the service of Krishna. And Prabhupada explained that why we are doing all these activities, ultimately to go back to Godhead. That is why we are chanting, hearing, listening, so that we can go back to Krishna. That is the aim of life. So one devotee asked Prabhupada, if we die on Sankirtan, we will go back home, back to Godhead? They are expecting it. Is wonderful, because we have heard keep on chanting always, so that you chant at the time of death, and if you chant at the time of death, you will go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada said, which shloka Prabhupada said? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam त्यजति ante kalevaram tam tam evedi kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of mind is in at the time of death, that state you will attain. So Prabhupada told, if you think of Krishna and you die on Sankirtan, you go back to Godhead. If you don't think of him, then maybe not. Everyone in the room sighed. They hadn't gotten what they wanted. Then Prabhupada said, but I promise you this. If you distribute my books until your dying day, Lord Chaitanya will personally come and take you back home, back to Godhead. Then the devotees were relieved. Prabhupada gave simple formula. If you distribute books every day till your dying day, then not ordinary. Lord Chaitanya will personally come and take you back home, back to Godhead. Lord Chaitanya will personally come and take you back to Godhead. So thus there are no limit to the glories of distributing these books. And thus we can see here that how we are sitting, we are trying to follow Prabhupada so closely, following his directions on initiation and serving Krishna very exactly. How? Because one devotee, he picked up a book, Krishna book from IIT Bombay Library. He was going to commit suicide. Just imagine. All this effort was useless. The son of a scientist, very bright brain. IIT gave him invitation. He did not need to write exam. He was invited to join IIT. But such a wonderful brain, a powerful person was, he climbed on top of building. He was about to jump and commit suicide. Just imagine. Such a big loss would have been there for the nation and for the world. He was about to jump. Somehow he came down. And then for entertainment, he went to IIT Bombay Library. And he found Krishna book. And who is he? His Grace Madhu Pandit Prabhu. And what a wonderful revolution he has created across the world. So one person, one book can create such transformation, such revolution. Who would have thought? Some devotee came, put a set of books in the library, but one person, one powerful person reads. This is the change which can come. Similar change happened in Myanmar also. The entire movement in Myanmar happened only because some doctor visited for a conference in the US, and usually people follow Buddhism over there. So the group of doctors and devotees are very expert in giving books. They gave the magazine, and they told, I'm sorry, we are all Buddhists actually. We follow Buddhism, we don't follow Hinduism. So devotee was smart. So there was apparently something about Dashavatar. Immediately opened, see, Buddha, it is about Buddha. It is Buddhism. He showed Buddha's picture. So there is no time. So they thought actually it might be about Buddha only. The picture is also there of Buddha. And then they discovered it is not about Buddhism. They are telling Buddha is also incarnation of Krishna, and it's all about Krishna. But it was a religious literature. They did not want to just get away. So they took it along, and they thought better we give it to a person who may take interest. They gave it to another doctor who was following this Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma. May not be following, but he was a Hindu by faith. And then the magazine kept on lying in his house for a very, very long time. And it got completely dusted. And after many years, his son picked that magazine. And then he started reading. And then he became devotee. And he created the entire movement in Myanmar. So the Frontier magazine interviewed this devotee. That how the single devotee created numerous devotees and many, many temples across Myanmar. Similarly, Raj Prabhu also has told the story on YouTube. About which country? Uzbekistan, Middle East, some country. A single person, he created this revolution in the Middle East. He was not interested at all in reading the books, but somehow he stumbled upon signs of self-realization. So like this, there are many, many stories of transformations of individuals. So Prabhupada explains, yes, preaching is important, but what are 2-3 minutes of preaching would do? We can speak something, the other person would forget. But if we give the book, then he will understand very, very systematically, and his life will get transformed. So thus, if we have to bring, audios are important, videos are important, creatives are important, but if we have to actually have transformation in our life, or we have to induce transformation in somebody else's life, books are very important. Without book, real transformation is not possible. Books have been the basis of all the revolutions of the world. All the upheavals, ideological changes have been brought about by the book. So books are the basis, books are most important. It is the best way to satisfy Krishna. Krishna tells, nobody is dearer to me. So one gets very quick recognition. We have seen devotees who have been chanting very, very nicely. They would chant without dozing off for a second. For 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, would sit at one place and chant. Devotees very strict in following the rules and regulations, but they all fell down. They could not advance much. But devotees with many, many problems, but those who were sincere in preaching, they were very nicely protected. They advanced very nicely. They are serving. So rules, regulations are important, but if we simply stick to the rules, regulations of deity worship, then anytime we can fall down. But if we preach, we distribute the books, We take austerities, we get rid of the material desires, we get taste in devotional service, and the spiritual master is pleased, Krishna is also pleased. Thus Prabhupada tells all the activities of the movement, they are concentrated on distributing the literatures. So just imagine this literature. Otherwise the person was going to die, commit suicide. And simply this literature created such wonder in the life. So that is why people are suffering. We need to think about ourselves, but about others also. Simply this Bhagavatam will give so much of relief. People who have been in stress for their entire life, they become so delighted when they come across Krishna consciousness, when they pick it up. So this is the only thing that can give relief. Just like Krishna gave relief to Arjuna, Krishna gave relief to everyone, Krishna is incarnated in the form of Bhagavatam. And thus it is told here, sometimes we doubt that people may not read. Then what will happen? They simply keep the books in their houses. Yes. Because sometimes that is also true. We have distributed books, we come across, oh, I could not read. They are lying in my bookshelf. So it is explained here, a person who is constantly engaged in reading literature, enunciating the cultivation of Vaishnava devotional service is always glorious in human society, and certainly Lord Krishna becomes pleased with him. Who is constantly engaged in reading literature, definitely Lord Krishna is pleased with him. But it is told here, a person who very carefully keeps such literature at home and offers respectful obeisances to it. So when we give books to people, we request, please read. If you cannot read, at least offer respects to these literatures. So who very carefully keeps such literatures at home and offer respectful obeisances to it, becomes freed from all sinful reactions and ultimately becomes worshipable by the demigods. So here the whole world is worshipping devatas, demigods. But a person who keeps such literatures at home and offer respects to such literatures becomes worshipable by devatas, becomes worshipable by the demigods. So these are the glories because these books are non-different from Lord Krishna himself. And Prabhupada explains in India, people worship the books. Of course, Prabhupada did not constitute such worship because in worship, people go to other extreme. So I was talking to one of my friends who is following Sikh religion. So I discussed with him, have you read Guru Granth Sahib? So no, that is very pure, we cannot read. So only some people who are qualified to worship, they speak and then we hear. So this sacredness has gone to such an extreme that they think we are not qualified to read. And that is why when we distribute books, people don't take. They tell, I am so impure, I cannot touch Bhagavad Gita. I have just eaten meat. I told, take it, go home, take bath and then you read. But no, they don't want to touch. I am impure, no. And my house is impure, I do all wrong activities. If I keep Bhagavad Gita, what will happen? It is telling, oh, my house is so dark. If I take light, will it be good? Light will feel bad. There is so much darkness, why you brought me here? So this foolishness. Unfortunately, this sacredness has gone to such an extreme that people don't touch Bhagavad Gita. I am into wrong activities. No, I smoke actually. I cannot touch Gita. I do this thing. I cannot. My room, so many wrong activities happen. I cannot keep Gita. So they remain ignorant. So probably this could be the reason or something else. So Prabhupada did not institute worship. But otherwise Prabhupada tells, in India you go, people worship the Grantha, people worship Bhagavatam. Like the deity of Krishna, they offer flowers, paraphernalia of worship. So it is told here, if person does nothing, simply keeps the books and they offer respects to the books, obeisances, they become worshipable they become freed from all sinful reactions. Just like we offer respects to Krishna, our sins are vanquished. Similarly, if you offer respects to the books, the sins are vanquished. And a person becomes worshipable by devatas. So giving books is such an important thing. It is as good as giving deities to the people in a more merciful form. For approaching deities, you have to be pure, but books you can read anytime. Anybody can read. Person coming out of slaughterhouse, he is butcher. He is killing animals. He has killed animals. He came out. He came across some torn paper of Science of Self-Realization lying on the street. He picked up. He searched for the devotees and he became devotee. Wife became devotee. The neighbors also became devotees. A butcher, he would have thought, had he been Indian, oh, I've killed an animal, I cannot touch. Never. So these are the power of the books. So it is not ordinary activity. Simply by touching one makes advancement. So that is why Prabhupada told, every house should have our books. Every gentleman in any language, it doesn't matter. This is our propaganda. Now you are getting all languages so we can capture the whole world. So this is Prabhupada's mood. So there is nothing important than this service. Our chanting, reading, hearing, whatever we are doing, ultimately it is to distribute the books and literatures. This is the basis of our spiritual advancement and this is going to save the world. So next week onwards, we'll be issuing the books to everyone and 5th November onwards, we are commencing this marathon. We will be doing it for 45 days. So 45 days we can focus, you plan distributing on a large scale, at an enterprise level you can plan, or if not possible, at least we can approach one-on-one. The people whom we know are strangers on the street or anywhere, online, offline, call people, approach people, and if possible, approach the people who have, there are many ways of doing it. If a person is having hotel, request him. Many hoteliers, they keep book in each and every room of theirs. If somebody is having company, New Year is coming, they give New Year gift to the employees. Thanksgiving, people exchange gifts, you can give it to them. Or somebody is rich, they can sponsor, we can distribute in the government schools. Children cannot afford such books. They come from poor families. So in all these ways and many other ways, we can distribute the books and literatures. So try to think on a grand scale. Let us try to distribute more and more. And in this way, we will advance. You yourself will see. Make an experiment. Participate in this marathon. Try to push books. At least every person whom we know, we can try to give a carton. A carton is having 20, 30 books. Tell them, you socialize so much. At least one gift you have to give a month. So in the next 1 year, whichever person you meet, whenever you are supposed to give a gift, try to give these books as a gift. Either Krishna book, and big books should be given. Small books get misplaced. Big books. Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, first canto. These books you give to people. So the books stay for generations. They would read, their children would read, and they would become perfectly advanced. So this anybody can do. If at all you are giving gifts, anyway we have to give gifts to people, give Bhagavad Gita. So tell all your friends, all your relatives, all the other people. So Britishers ruled us because the books were taken away. Let us now bring back the books. And this is the solution. Shastra is the solution. This is the foundation. So we will end here unless there are any questions. I have another class in 5 minutes, so we'll finish. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्रील प्रभुपाद बुक मैराथन की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।